Hi everyone, how are you today? How you do? Welcome to our Facebook watch party with the theme Mushroom into Greatness, Tell Your Story. And last week we started by looking at the 7 R's in restoration. Do you remember them? And of course we looked at renewal. And we had with us our host, our guest, Mr. Paul Smith. And as you already know, he's our primary director for Love and Restoration Ministries and a counseling psychologist in his own right. And so today we're going to continue our discussion on the different R's in restoration. And today we're looking at recovery. Yes, recovery. It's a time when we're dealing with all kinds of, unrest in our lives. Many people are hurting. Many people are experiencing grief. We see on the news the numerous things that are happening, Mr. Smith.
Yes.
And so I'm delighted to have you sharing with us today again as we talk about the whole issue of recovery. We know that recovery signifies the return to a normal state. That means there was disruption and you're returning to a normal state, whether it is with your health, with your mind, or with your strength or body. And it's a process of regaining control of something that might have been stolen or might have been lost. And so, viewers, we reach out to you as we have this dialogue, this discourse together, and I hope it will be beneficial to you. So, welcome to LARM Live. Mr. Smith.
Hi.
Hi,
viewers.
We're delighted to have you again. And I'm asking you kindly to provide us with an overview of the second R in restoration, that of recovery.
All right, recovery, as you defined, it is going back to an original state where you were before. And if one is going to really experience any kind of restoration, then it means therefore that this R becomes very important. The whole issue of making that step from past hurts, as we said, from betrayal, from so many broken relationships, be they intimate or be it social, right? Then it becomes important that this step, be taken if you're going to have full restoration.
All right, thank you. So how then does recovery relate to restoration? How do these relate?
All right, I see restoration as the bedrock, as the foundation. So if you are going to have restoration, then it's automatical that you have to recover, right? So you can't recover and then you say that you are restored, right? So recovery is an important part in the process, leading up to restoration. So the umbrella, as I put it, the overarching aim is to have restoration, right? But these are components that can lead you to full restoration. And of course, recovery is paramount in this process.
Does the Bible have anything to say about recovery?
Definitely. Even if you look at Job, I take the problem of Job again.
Yes.
After Job went through his downhill, and he was told by his wife to curse God and die, and his friends came to him and said, "What did you do? What sin did you commit?"
Right.
And he lost all that he had. There came a time when God had, when he recovered, he took himself out of the ashes, as it were, and he said, "I'm going to wait until my change comes." And he did wait until his change come, and then he recovered. And, the Bible told us that, all that he lost, they were regained, but Job had to make that decision.
Restoration.
That he wants to be restored, and so he's going to recover.
So you have to want to be restored.
Yes, so the first step is that it's something you have to make that decision, that you want to be restored. It's a personal decision. It's a time in your life where you say, enough is enough. I want to go on with my life. I want to enjoy life once again. So the first thing that you have to make that conscious decision, not something that you're coerced into, right? But a personal decision that I want to recover from the hurt.
So it's having a mindset then, sir.
It's having a mindset.
Right, and as you mentioned, Job, David as well.
David as well.
Was in the squalor, and was undergoing, and you have to go through the process, don't you think?
Yes.
Because David had to go through the process of hurting and crying in sackcloth and ashes, but there came a time when he actually had to get up. And make a concerted decision. But continue, because I want you to share with our viewers the recovery plan as it relates to restoration.
Awesome. So the first thing that you have to make a decision to let it go. Right? So whoever hurt you, whoever did you wrong, for however long it was, you have to make that decision that I don't want to feel this way anymore.
Right.
I don't want to have any trapped spirits. I'm longing to smile. I'm longing to laugh. I'm longing to be out there. So the first step in the process is that you make that decision to let it go.
Right.
Today I am going to let it go. It has been 5 years. It has been 14 years, 20 years, 10 hours. I am going to let it go. Right? And you might not feel that way, but you have to proclaim it. I am going to let it go. Right? Because this thing has held me like a prisoner. Right? And I don't want to feel that way.
Right.
I'm not fulfilling my potential anymore. I can't pray as I ought to anymore. Right? I have isolated myself from my friends and my families, and I don't want to live like this for the rest of my life. So the first part of the plan is to make that decision, that personal decision, that I am ready to let it go. Step 2, express your pain and take responsibility for how you feel.
Okay.
Right? So it is good to say, after 5 years, after 10 years, I am really feeling crushed. I really feel broken. I really feel sad. Right? You can express it in writing. Or you might go to the person who have done you wrong and say, this is exactly how I feel. Right? But I'm advising viewers to use the I language. Right? When you say, this is how I feel, instead of this is what you did to me, it makes a difference. Right? So it's going to express to say, this is how I feel, this is how I am feeling.
I love that.
You're taking responsibility for your emotions.
Yes.
Right? So person might have done you wrong, but at the end of the day, you are responsible for how you feel.
Right.
And you have to connect with your emotion. That's the second step. Right? The third step is to stop being the victim. Right? There are those of us who like to play the victim. Oh, poor me. Right? I don't know why they did this to me. And you sit and you cry for months, you cry for weeks, you cry for years. Right? You have to get out of the victim seat, right? And see yourself as the victor.
Amen.
See yourself as an overcomer, right? Because if you feel as if you are the victim, you will never recover and you will never be restored, right? Because sometimes you are the greatest enemies as it relates to progress. So if you tell your mind that you are always the victim, you're going to feel like the victim. You'd want to be treated like a victim. And so this is a wrong recipe. This is disastrous as it relates to recovery.
Wow. So there you go. We are on our way to restoration, talking about recovery. And 3 things have been said already in the recovery plan. Let us now remove from the victim state and be victors, be conquerors, as Mr. Smith, licensed counseling psychologist, continue to tell us about this recovery plan. Sir, continue.
Thank you so much. Then the 4th one, focus on the present. Right?
Wow.
So there are those of us who like to go back to the past. Right? If you're going to start afresh, if you're going to recover, if you're going to be renewed, right? You have to be able to live in the present. right? What do you want now? How do I feel now? How do I want to feel now? Right? If you live in the past, you will never enjoy the present, and the future will be dark. Right? So the Bible talks about forgetting the things that are behind us,
Yes.
and looking forward to the things which are ahead. So Paul said, I press towards the mark for the prize of the higher calling. Right? The past can hold us hostage. Right? The past will allow hurt to remain, right? We have to look at the present with a fresh new lens and say, this is what I want, and you live the way you want to live. So the past becomes an enemy, right? It can be used as a reference point, but it should not be somewhere where you choose to stay, where you choose to live for the rest of your life.
Oh, wow. So 7 R's in restoration. And we dealt with renewal. And today we're looking at recovery. And already we are talking about a recovery plan. And Mr. Smith has already mentioned about 4 of them. 1, let it go. Explore your pain. Stop being the victim and focus on the present. Then do you have more for us, Mr. Smith?
Yes, there's a 5th one, right? And the 5th one is awesome. It is powerful. And it speaks of forgiveness.
Wow.
It speaks of forgiveness. Now, forgiveness is not natural.
Yes.
Forgiveness is divine. It is something we have to pray about, right? Forgiveness also is a process. And it does not mean that when you forgive, you're not going to feel hurt. It doesn't mean that you're not going to feel teary-eyed, right? But you have made that decision that you are going to let it go. You're going to let go the person from out of your heart. Because forgiveness can be unforgiveness can be very dangerous, right? You can go to your bed and you can't sleep. You can have all kind of maladies, right? You might be able not to be able to sleep because you're getting depressed. And while you are in your bed crying and you are upset and you're angry and you lash out at everyone, the person who has done you wrong is out there, enjoying life, and you are having high blood pressure, right? Your diabetes becomes uncontrolled, right? Your immune system breaks down and you get sick and you're constantly tired and you're suffering from fatigue and you can't pray as you ought to pray because there's iniquity in your heart, right? And so many things start to happen to you. You have to make that decision again and say to the Lord, Lord, I want to forgive that person who has done me wrong. Lord, I am willing. And whatever it takes, Lord, for me to feel better, I am going to do it. Forgiveness is divine. It's the same power of love.
Yes.
Love, you love in spite of, not because of. So you forgive in spite of what the person has done to you. It is time to get out of the jail and say, I want to be as free as a bird. I want to soar again. I want to fly again. I want to explore the possibilities that are ahead. And forgiveness is extremely important. When you forgive, you're not doing it for the other person. You're doing it for yourself. Forgiveness is all about you.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Smith. You seem very passionate about this whole restoration issue.
Yes.
And no wonder we're called Love and Restoration Ministries.
Yes.
There are not many other ministries like this, Love and Restoration Ministries. We believe that people need to be loved and people need to experience restoration. So friends, as we have spoken to you about recovery today, remember the recovery plan from LARM'S. Remember that you should let it go.
Yes.
Remember that you should express your pain. Use the I language while you're doing so. Remember to stop being the victim and to be the victor. Remember to focus on the present and not on the past. The past can influence your present, but you should focus on the present. And remember that you have to forgive. We all have to forgive. And we were told that forgiveness is divine. I'm excited about what Love and Restoration Ministries will have to offer you as we continue to discuss these R's. Join us next week at the same time, same place, when we'll talk about another R in restoration. We've gone to recovery and renewal. I wonder what the next one will be. Join us live next week at 4 o'clock as we continue this discourse. Thank you so very much, Mr. Smith,
Absolute
for coming.
pleasure. Bye.